Hey everybody, welcome back. It's great to have you. My name is Dino, and this is a mini lecture. This one is on John Perry Barlow's A Declaration of the Independence of Cyberspace, a seminal document in the formation of sort of the norms and culture around the internet, some of the ideals about it. Before we begin, it might be best to pause this and read John Perry Barlow's Declaration of the Independence of Cyberspace. If you just Google it, well, it's not hard to find. Also, I'm going to be presenting a number of questions. You might want to pause, and I'll pose the question, think about it for a second, I'll give you my response to it. I wonder what your initial thoughts on it are, about the language, etc., etc. Think about that, some of the tones, etc. I'm going to read some quotations, some statements from the Declaration, and then think about this. Do you think the statement is true? Do you think it's false? And do you think it's somewhere between truth and falsehood? And if so, where? Again, what I'd like to do, or to make it the best for you, I'll read the statement. You might want to pause, see what your take is, and I'll give you a response after you come back. We are creating a world, the internet, that all may enter without privilege or prejudice accorded by race, economic power, military force, or station of birth. What do you think about that? My view is that there's no like overt prejudice against it. What I would say is that unfortunately, due to issues like race, which can unfortunately correlate like in different nations with different income levels, especially it's less about race specifically, but it's more about issues like economics. If you are wealthy, you have a smartphone, a laptop, a desktop, and connected Wi-Fi. If you have those things, you can enter the internet easily. If you do not have those things, you can't. Next quote. We are creating an online world where anyone, anywhere may express his or her beliefs, no matter how singular, without fear of being coerced into silence or conformity. Do you agree? Think that's true? Do you think it's false? Do you think it's somewhere between truth and falsehood? I would say that initially, anyone, anywhere may express his or her beliefs on any issue whatsoever. Unfortunately, in the social media world, the ability to retort really quickly and strongly for people who do not like what you do can coerce anyone, even the most resilient and those with the most resolve, into silence or conformity. I think over time, you may have a peer group that if you raise a certain issue, like a political issue, a religious issue, some other hot button issue that people really feel strongly about and can take both sides, you quickly learn that if you say something that a peer group doesn't like, you can get silenced into, or you can be forced into conformity. Also, if you, I'm sure some of you have seen, there are people that have had jobs taken away from them by tweeting racist, sexist, homophobic things that are obviously not popular these days or welcome, and again, they can lose their jobs because of that. Again, silenced or forced into conformity. Next quote. Your legal concepts of property, expression, identity, movement, and context do not apply to us. They're all based on matter, and there is no matter here. What do you think? Do you agree? Think it's true, false, or somewhere in between? I would say, in terms of property, if you upload to YouTube a copyrighted song, you will quickly be notified by the proprietors that that is the property of someone else. You'll be flagged and asked to take that down. Again, from the last part, if you defame someone online, the legal concepts of expression can come into effect. If someone has enough deep pockets and is inclined, there could be some kind of dispute, and people have their identity taken. I've had classes where people have had their identity stolen. They've spoken about that in class. So these concepts, although probably more muted than in real space, in real offline space, they do have some kind of heft here online. We are forming our own social contract. This governance will arise according to the conditions of our world, not yours. Our world is different. Some of you may be saying, what is a social contract? It is a voluntary agreement among individuals by which organized society is brought into being and invested with the right A, to secure mutual protection and welfare, or B, to regulate the relations among its members. It was forwarded in a number of seminal documents, Leviathan by Thomas Hobbes, Second Treatise of Government by John Locke, and Social Contract by Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Again, a voluntary agreement by organized society for mutual protection and welfare and regulate the relations among its members. So that's what a social contract is generally. I wonder if you think there's a social media contract, social media, the internet, social contract, based on the definition above, and if so, who created it? You might want to think about that for a minute. I would say that the social contract is mainly mediated and created by the corporations who run these platforms. If you have a end user license agreement that you agree to and you violate it, this voluntary agreement that you sign up by signing onto this, which is created by a corporation, if you do not adhere to its tenets, you can be kicked off the platform. It doesn't happen a lot. I'm sure you've heard about other people, but you probably have not. I'm assuming that you're a kind, reasonable person, as most students are. But other people have violated contracts like these and have been forced off by the corporations that run these platforms. So, yeah. And then informally, we mutually protect one another by talking before about being silenced into conformity. There's almost, we know off our own experience online, that if we do or say certain things online, we can be punished for it. So I think we self-regulate to some extent. Last quote, we will create a civilization of the mind in cyberspace that may be more humane and fair than the world your governments have made before. And this is the end of Barlow's statement, his declaration in February 8th, 1996 at Davos, which is a big place for rich and powerful mucky-mucks. So from that, do you think the social media, the internet, is more humane and fair than the world? Do you have any closing thoughts on Barlow? I think it is more humane and fair at some times. It's less humane and less fair at other times, depending on the situation. I think I like the idea that Barlow talked about. Like, I think it was really powerful for someone to drive the ethos of the internet of being less governmentally regulated. It's ideally more humane and fair than the regular civilization. I think some of Barlow's idealism, and I like that it was couched in idealism, hasn't come to fruition. And I think it's good when we see, like, especially at certain times, the internet seems to get better reputation and worse. People like it more and less, depending on the year in question, the political regime in question, what's happening in the world, etc. Hopefully we can try to be more humane and more fair online than in our offline world. That was a declaration of the independence of cyberspace by John Perry Barlow. Great photo here. Thanks for listening. Hopefully we'll see you again soon. Take care.